Okay, greetings everyone. Welcome to the week 4 presentation for our online college writing class. Remember, you should be listening to these on Friday when the week opens so that you can make a study plan over the weekend, and also you can be prepared for our Zoom class on Mondays. First, you're going to listen to Serial Episode 4 this week. Don't forget also that your Curiosity Quest is due this week. It can cover any question you had in any of the first 4 episodes. So pick your best question from your annotations or something that came up in the discussion boards. Totally up to you. Remember, the question needs to be a good question that will give us information and help us to determine Adnan's guilt or innocence by the end of the semester. Remember too, you are not Googling what other people think about Adnan's guilt or innocence. You are picking a specific question that you can research. So whether, like I said before in my other presentations, whether that's looking at how marijuana impacts memory, whether it's looking at EMT training or things like that, right? You're looking for specific research questions that can help you expand on the information you're learning in the podcast that will help you determine Adnan's guilt or innocence. So first listen to the episode, do your discussion board post, and then don't forget it's a Curiosity Quest week. I've given you in that Curiosity Quest subfolder here, you've got the directions again, you've got my video that went over the directions, you've got my sample Curiosity Quest, you have the general really bare bones sample PowerPoint that you can then edit if you want to, or make your own, or use a different program. I also have linked the home page to VoiceThread here so that you can just click straight on there and you can click create and start your own VoiceThread. Remember, have your PowerPoint perfectly polished when you upload it, because once you upload it, you cannot change any of the mistakes on the PowerPoint. So make sure it's perfect before you upload it into VoiceThread. Record your comments, and then don't forget to share. Over here, I've alerted you to the fact that when you click on share, make sure you click that anyone can view it. You don't have to allow us to comment on it, but unless you want us to for some reason, but you definitely need to click on the box that says that anyone can view it. Okay, and then there's also the grading rubric and then the discussion board. You can kind of see it at the very bottom. That is where you will, that is this right here. So you'll click on it and start a new thread and go ahead and post your first Curiosity Quest of the semester. Don't forget that you're listening to your peers, so you must post by Wednesday, and then you'll go back, you'll go in your pods, you'll listen to their Curiosity Quests, and you'll comment to your people. Okay, so that's Serial Episode 4. If we were going to break Episode 4 into acts, we're still thinking like that, right? Like, how do we break an episode down into its major support or into the different sections of the episode? This episode begins with police looking at Adnan because they get an anonymous call. It goes into the cell log that becomes a map of the day of the crime that leads them to Adnan. They start with Jen and Jay's statements, then Adnan is arrested. Adnan describes his and Jay relationship, Jay's statements, and then all the shifty parts of Jay's story. So that kind of lays out the sections of episode 4. Again, get used to looking at the major support or the acts. Again, you're thinking about those with your personal narrative, so it's good to be thinking of those sections. Next, you're going to do your last mentor text set this week, and actually both of them are oral. So first you've got The Moth with Oreo Relapse. That is this one here. It's Bill Burnett. I hope you enjoy this one. A lot of the personal narratives we've been listening to or reading, I guess, so far have been quite serious and heavy. While these it's not necessarily that they're not heavy, it's just they're lighter, right? There's some humor in here because a lot of students asked at this point in the semester, Jan, can we be funny? And yes, the answer to that is yes. And so here is how to do that. So you're going to listen to 2 oral stories this week. First, The Oreo Relapse. Here's your link. And then Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is a fantastic author. My favorite book by him is called The Graveyard Book. It's a YA book. My son read it when he was in middle school and absolutely loved it. I loved it. But he's written a lot of really famous books. He is a fantastic writer. And then here is a link to his presentation of Liverpool Street. So you're going to listen to both of these. One's a video and one's just, you're just listening to audio. And then there's a discussion topic that goes over how how both of these are a well-told story. How do they do what we've been learning about? So that narrative arc, the control of time, the description, the dialogue, the so what, the 6 traits, and Stanton's clues to a great story. You will not have learned about that yet. It's actually in the next folder down, so maybe listen to Stanton's Clues to a Great Story before you finish up your discussion board post for this well-told story. Again, this is your last mentor text set. Okay, then we're going to work on the so what this week. Remember, the so what is what we call the thesis of a personal narrative. So what? Why does this story matter, right? And so first you're going to look at this document. It's called the So What Packet. It's here, and it has in it, if I remember correctly, there might be 5 personal narratives in there, and you're going to read them and make sure you're trying to figure out what the so what is of each one. And then there is a voice thread that goes over all of it. It asks you to participate. You are getting graded for your participation in the voice thread. It covers the whole packet. I ask you questions, you answer them, and I go over the packet. This, again, is the PowerPoint that I used to make the voice thread. You don't need to refer to it unless you want to refer back to it later. So the assessment piece here is in the voice thread. Okay, and so then you're going to listen to Clues to a Great Story. This is Andrew Stanton. He works for Pixar. And so while a wonderful storyteller for Pixar and Disney, not the best orator, so deliverer, I guess. He reads off the teleprompters a lot, and his joke at the beginning has some profanity in it. So if you are offended by that, you might want to start about a minute or so into the TED Talk to avoid it. But in general, what he's saying is fantastic, so pay attention to that and less about his delivery. Here is a document called Stanton's Story List. This will lead your personal narrative through Stanton's Clues to a Great Story. You want to listen to his video. This is a TED Talk he gave, and then you are going to get to use your personal narrative. You're going to answer these questions that are here, and you're going to put them in your private discussion board. Okay, so that's Clues to a Great Story. I hope you enjoy Stanton's TED Talk. I think students really like this one. Then you're going to work on your personal narrative draft 2. It must have a cover letter this week, whether you choose to use Anne Green's I guess strategy in writing to me directly, which I would really appreciate if you tried that, or in general in your cover letter, make sure you're covering what you're changing, what concerns you have, make sure you remember the look-fors, what you're being graded on, and here is your grading sheet also in this folder for you to look at. And so this is what you're being graded on and how are you feeling about all of that. Also let me know what you're considering still changing or what questions you have. Again, putting those comments directly in your story the way Anne did is a great idea. Or you can have it all isolated out in a cover letter, your choice. And then that's it for this week. One of my favorite quotes is by Mark Twain here. I love this one. The time to begin writing an article is when you have finished it to your satisfaction. By that time, you begin to clearly and logically perceive what it is you really want to say. In other words, when you're done with your rough draft, that's when you're ready to write. So a lot of times, if I told you to start over at any point in this process, I was using inspiration from Mark Twain, who is one of my favorite writers. So have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you on Monday in our Zoom class, and let me know how I can help.